Afternoon, Cochise County. How's everybody doing this afternoon? Got a special show this afternoon because last week with the 4th of July weekend, we didn't have a show. So Kathy asked me if I could do two today, and I gladly said I would do that. So it's a special show. I have a special veteran with me today. I would like to introduce to you Bob Conti. I've heard a lot about Bob before I met him. I heard about him at the Elks. Heard about him from the DAV. This gentleman has a very distinguished career, and I was so happy to meet him because when you meet him in person, good guy. Bob, thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much.
Now, your head's not too big, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool.
I mean, you blew it up a little bit.
I tried
That's
because,
okay.
All right. That's what I try to do, make everybody to get that ego going.
Okay.
There's that. I always do that. So there's another dollar in the kitty. What I'd like to start out with today is first off, Bob, where's home? Where are you from before you enlisted and everything?
Okay, it's a little town in upstate New York called Waterville, New York.
Okay.
All right? Just south. Let me see. Wait a minute. South of the Pennsylvania line, probably about 50 miles, actually.
Okay.
Right in the center of the state.
And did you go to like elementary school there and high school and all that?
Went all the way from grade school, elementary school, kindergarten, all the way to 12th grade. There.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, did you enlist in the, well, first off, what branch were you in?
I was in the Army.
Army. I know that, but
yeah.
Okay. Were you drafted or did you enlist?
I enlisted.
Okay, and what year was that?
1966, March.
1966,
March.
okay. Yeah. And where did you go for basic training?
Fort Dix, New Jersey. I mean, that's a wonderland, I'm going to tell you. Yes, it was.
You didn't have far to go.
No, yeah. But I'd never been on an airplane before.
No?
Been on a bus, but they put us on an airplane to go to Fort Dix.
How far was Fort Dix from where you were from in New York? Approximately.
It's probably about 6 hours, actually.
6 hours,
yes.
So it was a good distance.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. So you go to basic training, Fort Dix, New Jersey, and then what about for AIT? Did you get to pick what you wanted to do when you enlisted, or did the Army, were you one of those lucky gentlemen that said, this is what you're going to do?
Well, I did pick, actually.
Okay.
All right. I was a 31 Echo. That's field radio repair.
Okay.
I went to the southeastern signal school. It wasn't called Fort Gordon back in those days.
What was it called?
Southeastern Signal School.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay, all right.
Southeastern Signal School.
Okay. And notice that a lot of our veterans in this area seem to have some type of a connection with radios or signal school. I know we had a lot of signal here in the area for quite a long time, but I just noticed that a little bit. So then you're at, what's it called again before Fort Gordon?
Southeastern
Thank
Signal
you.
School.
Okay.
United States Army,
And you go there, and you're there. And how long was your AIT training for?
I think it was 30-something weeks, actually.
That long, huh?
Yeah, it was a radio repair course.
Wow.
Field,
Right.
Tactical field radio repair.
Okay, and after you got done with your AIT, where did you go next?
I went to an infantry division in Korea, actually, the 7th ID.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about that? And what it was like being in Korea?
Oh,
and what year and stuff like that?
It was December 1966, actually.
Okay.
And I was there through February, March, I think March or April of 68 because of the Pueblo incident, if you remember that. You remember?
Honestly, I don't.
Talking about that. Well,
Okay.
It was actually a spy ship that got captured by the North Koreans. So they extended everybody.
Okay.
And when I went to my unit, they didn't have any use for a field radio repairman. Okay.
All right.
But they had a use for a guy that knew a radio. So I had a Prick 25 that I put on my back, and I was assigned to platoon up on the DMZ.
Okay.
All right, and we used to walk the DMZ, just this side of Freedom Bridge, actually. It was a fence line. It was just a barbed wire fence at the time. So I did that for probably about 14 months, actually.
Okay.
Came back to the States at that time, and I went to Fort Riley, Kansas.
All righty.
Okay.
I keep forgetting to tell our viewers this. One of these days it's going to sink in the old noggin here. If you are watching this right now live and you have any questions for myself or for Bob Conti, please put them here in the comment section and I'll be happy to pass it on to him.
Oh, absolutely.
So you just got back from Korea and you went to Fort Riley, Kansas.
Fort Riley, Kansas.
Okay.
But let me back up a little bit.
Okay.
I got married to my wife, Sue, in November 1966.
And I had the pleasure of meeting her.
Yes,
Lovely lady.
Yes, you have.
Lovely
Yes.
lady.
Okay, and I went to Korea in December 20th of that same year. So we were married just 30 days, and it's away you go.
No honeymoon, huh?
Yeah, separately.
Right.
Yeah,
Because it's an unaccompanied tour.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So got back in, March of 68. Went to Fort Riley, Kansas. I was assigned to a maintenance battalion at that time. And of course, all the radio equipment came in from the other units on post, and then we repaired that stuff. And then I got transferred to the 541st S&S Battalion.
S&S, what's that?
That's
I don't have any idea what this is.
Supply and Service Battalion.
Okay.
Supply and Service Battalion.
All right.
You know, and a lot of guys. I had a lot of guys. I was assigned to the battalion message center. All right.
Okay.
We had a lot of men that was coming back from Vietnam, and they all had profiles, so they couldn't do much, you know.
Okay.
But as it was, we had to do a lot of stuff for the battalion, and we did. Now, I got injured just before I got out of the Army.
Okay.
I was climbing a telephone pole, all right, and it was a 40-footer. It was a big one. And I gaffed out, and I fell approximately about 50 feet.
What?
Yes. And
I did not know that.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
I wrapped my knees around my ears, so I ended up in the hospital for, until I almost ETS'd. I ETS'd in March.
Okay.
And this was, I think, November. So I was in the hospital 3-4 months.
Right.
You know, then got out of the hospital, ETS, but went back to my company, and the first sergeant says, "Hey, Sergeant Conti, you need a haircut." I went, "Well, I don't think I'm going to get one right now, First Sergeant, because I'm leaving." He goes, "Well, sign out here and hit the road." So I did, you know. That was pretty crazy.
And where was this at?
This was Fort Riley.
Fort Riley, okay.
Kansas, yes.
All right.
It was, it was a big post, actually. I mean, we got to see a lot of stuff. The last surviving cavalry horse, his name was Chief. Everybody on post and all the battalions had to go and watch the ceremony when they buried Chief up by the flagpole on main post.
Wow.
He was the last surviving
What an honor.
cavalry, yeah. So it was amazing. So I got out of the Army March of 69.
And you had what, 3 years in at that time?
3 years. I was a buck sergeant at the time when I got out. Back in those days, you could get promoted to E6 at the battalion level. And they offered me E6 before I got injured, and I turned it down, and I went on my way, and I fell off that telephone pole. Utility pole, I guess they call them today.
All right.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So after you ETS, after putting in your 3 years, then where did you go?
Went back to our little hometown.
Back to New York?
Sue went to the same high school I did.
Okay.
All right. She lived in the same town that we did. So we went back there for, let me see, 69. Oh, and I did odds and ends. I worked construction most of the time. Did a lot of construction, actually. And then I looked at Sue and I said, you know something? I says, we made more money when I was in the Army. You know, as a buck sergeant, when I got out as a buck sergeant, I was only making like $218 a month.
I was going to ask you that, what the pay was. Thank you.
Back in 1969.
Right.
And then after I got out, 70, 71, 72, then it became the Volar Army. You know?
Right.
I mean, they let you have a beer at lunch and everything. You know? So I went back in March of 1974. All right.
So you had a break in service of
I had a 5-year break.
5-year break.
I had a 5-year break. Went back in 1974.
So there you have to do your basic training over again?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I had to, yes.
And where did you go that time?
Let's see, South Carolina.
South Carolina?
What the heck's the post there? I forgot, actually. I don't know.
That, it's not Fort Jackson, right?
Yes, that's it.
Is that
that's
it?
it. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No.
You know, I have a little bit of a...
So Fort Jackson?
I forget some stuff once in a while.
Oh, I do too, so no problem. So you're back at Fort Jackson for basic training.
Mm-hmm.
And when you enlisted this time, and you did enlist, right? Because
it was, yes.
Because I didn't know when did they stop the draft? What year? Do you remember?
Jeez, I had to be early 70s.
Early 70s, okay.
It had to be early 70s. And then I enlisted for I was a tactical microwave systems repair guy. But I had to go through basic training all over again.
Okay.
And halfway through basic training, they came out and they said, okay, if you're prior service, right? If you're prior service,
okay,
the only thing you have to do is do the PT test and run 2 miles. And I talked to my platoon daddy, and he goes, well, that doesn't pertain to you there, Private Conte. And I went, well, what do you mean it doesn't pertain to me? It should pertain to me and about 3 other guys that were prior service here. But I had to go through 11 weeks of basic training again.
Okay, and then you said when you went in for your MOS the second time, it was for microwave repair?
Tactical.
Tactical?
All tactical microwave systems repair.
And where was that at?
Well, you had to go to Cobalt School, okay, initial signal school right there at Fort Jackson, and then I went back to Fort Gordon, Georgia, for I think it was 21 weeks. 21 weeks for the school.
One thing I'm always curious about, I don't seem to remember to ask our other veterans, how did your wife feel about you going back in and moving back around? And I'm guessing, like when you went to basic training, she wasn't able to go to Fort Jackson, right?
Correct.
So
she did.
That had to be hard.
She did come with me to Fort Gordon, though.
Okay.
All right. And it was miserable. We were in a little trailer in a little town outside post called Grovetown, Georgia. And we had our son was with us, and I think he was only about 18 months or maybe 24 months old.
Okay.
And we didn't have air conditioning in this single-wide trailer at all. I mean, it was miserable.
And there is a lot of humidity in Georgia.
Lord.
A lot of humidity.
Yeah, it was miserable. But we survived it and went on from there. After I got out of school, I came right here to Fort Huachuca, Arizona. I was assigned to the 526 Signal Battalion under the 11th Signal Group, it was called at the time.
Right.
Yes.
So you were a cable dog.
No.
In a way. I mean, isn't that what Signal? No?
No, that was the 40th Signal was assigned under the 11th signal group also.
Okay.
So they were the cable dogs, the
All right.
Philadelphia signal guys.
All right.
Great group of folks, just crazier than heck.
Yeah. So you get back here at Fort Huachuca, and how long were you here for?
I think 2 years.
For 2 years,
Yeah.
and then where'd you go?
Then let's see, where did I go? Went to Germany. All right, went to Darmstadt, Germany. I was assigned to, let me see. 11th Air Defense Signal Battalion.
Okay, and what year was that?
Doesn't that sound fun?
Yeah, what year was that?
Let me see, 74.
Okay.
75, 70,
77 is about when I enlisted,
I think so.
So
77.
I never got to go overseas or anything like that. What did you think of Germany? Did you have a good
we
tour?
loved Germany. However, the unit that I was in didn't give us much time to see Germany.
No? Too busy working, huh?
Well, we were in the field most of the time. Now, the 11th Air Defense Signal Battalion is the only Air Defense Signal Battalion in the Army at the time. So we supported the Hawk, the Vulcan, the Chaparral, and the Nykirk sites as far as communications.
Okay.
All right. And we carried what they call the Four Horsemen circuits. And if by chance one of those circuits went down, you had stars standing at your tailgate.
Oh, that's not
wanting
good.
to know why, actually. Yes. So we just tell them why, and we fix it, repair it, and get it back on the air and go from there. But I had a breakout team. I had what they call a crash out team, actually. We had an hour to get everything and be going out the gate, because we were 32nd Air Defense Command forward for them, for 32nd Air Defense Command.
Okay.
So we were their initial forward communications. So everything from, if they deployed, 32nd Air Defense Command deployed, all of their comms would come through us back to the rear, or go to 5th Corps or go to 7th Corps, wherever they had to go. Because the Vulcan, Chaparral, we were spread out all over Germany. You know, your Vulcan units were at your airfields, actually, and your Chaparral could be anywhere, you know. Of course, you knew where your nuke sites were also.
So now that you're in Germany for how long?
3 years.
For 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
And at that time, you have how many years active combined with the break-in service there?
Okay, yes, 3.
Do you know about?
6.
About 6 years
or
active?
7, yeah, something like
Okay.
that, yeah.
So what's next?
Well, what's
After
next?
Germany?
Well, after Germany, I came right back here to Fort Huachuca again. The 11th Signal Group became the 11th Signal Brigade
right.
back in them days. So I was assigned at that time to 526 Signal Battalion, and that was all tropo. That was all heavy tropo.
And that is why they call it Fort We Gotcha.
Because they definitely got me.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, I'd go to Germany, I'd go to Korea, I'd always come back here, you know, and that was okay. If I had short tours, my wife stayed here. She worked for the government.
What does she do?
She worked for Desk Plans up at Greeley Hall.
Okay, good old Greeley Hall.
Yeah, and she was a secretary for the Desk Plans.
Okay.
And, I think there was seven other secretaries under her. Everything had to come through Sue.
Okay.
That left plans.
So you came back to Fort Huachuca, and then what was the next move?
Let me see. I went right back to Germany again.
Back
I
to
went
Germany.
right back to Darmstadt. It's interesting.
Okay.
You know, we lived on the economy. I never lived in quarters at all. Lived on the economy. I lived in Griesheim, Germany, and we lived in it was called Tomb Towers. We lived on the, the 8th, 9th, 10th floor, something like that. It was beautiful, beautiful view. It was nice. Our son learned how to speak German.
That's good.
We went to restaurants. I mean, good Lord, he ordered for us. You know, it was funny. Used to send him over to the tomb market to get cigarettes for me. God, he was only about 7 or 8 years old. That was crazy.
I understand because I've never been to Germany that the housing over there, like they don't have closets and.
On the economy, you're right. You had to have wardrobes, is what they call them.
Right.
You know, and we got them through the housing.
Okay.
On the base on Cambrai Frisch is where we were. Cambrai Frisch, and I was with the 440th Signal Battalion then. All right, we had just moved from Kaiserslautern to Darmstadt. 5th Corps did not have a signal battalion, so we were it. That's why they moved us out of Kaiserslautern into Darmstadt. So
Okay.
we were 5th Corps communications.
And after Germany, now you're about how many years in at that time?
Well, I came back. Let me see. I made E7.
Okay.
When I was in the 440th Signal Battalion. I was on the E7 list when I went to Germany the second time.
Okay.
Came back to Fort Huachuca again. All right. I was assigned to 526. No, I wasn't. It was the 505th Signal.
505th Signal?
Signal. All right. And I ran the DS maintenance shop for them. There, anything that went wrong with any of the rigs or the units, everything had to come through me before it went to the higher echelon folks to be repaired. So that was a good time. That was a good time. Let's put it that way. You know.
Okay.
We had a good shop, had good people working for me, and that's what it takes. You know, if you got a couple knuckleheads working for you, it doesn't do you any good, to be honest with you.
Did you keep in touch with any of your old friends from all these different units and stations?
I still do.
Do you?
Yeah, I mean,
that's great.
Yes, I'm talking to a friend of mine. His name is John Davis. Him and I were at Fort Riley, Kansas, at the same time back in the '60s.
Oh wow!
And I've gone to his house. He's come to here, but now he's back. He lives on the East Coast right now. So, but we talk probably about once every 2 weeks or once every month, and of course on Facebook we talk.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, how many years did you have in total when you retired? And at what rank were you at that time?
I made E8 in 12 years.
Okay, wow, that's pretty good.
From the time I came back in.
Master Sergeant or first sergeant? Were you a first sergeant?
I retired as a first sergeant.
First sergeant, yes. Okay.
I had had 19th Signal Company under the 11th Signal Brigade.
Okay.
We were directly under the brigade commander, the brigade. We weren't part of the 505th, the 526, or any of the other units there. So I made E8 when I was in NCOES, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. It was really a party that night, I'm going to tell you that.
So after you retire and your wife has a really good job here, you got roots here, you decided to stay here. And how long have you been in the community now here in Cochise County and Fort Huachuca?
Since 1974.
Since 1974.
And it was really, there wasn't much here back in those days.
I know. I got here in 77 and there wasn't.
This wasn't here in those days where we are right now. I mean, we used to quail hunt down here, for gosh sakes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, rabbit hunt and everything. You know, off of Fry Boulevard, there wasn't much.
Well, I had heard the stories from people that were here before that Fry Boulevard would go down to about 7th Street, and then it was gravel road.
Yeah, it was dirt, gravel road, all the way, rest of the way down.
Out to the high school.
And then the high school was down there on the left where the
Valero is now.
Valero is now.
Right.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, we've seen a lot of growth in this town, some good, some bad. The high school was pretty good school for the kids,
And then when they opened up the new school at that time, that was when Fort Devens had closed, and when they were doing the BRAC estimations, they had, I guess, had underestimated. So I remember, because my kids hadn't been in high school yet, but I remember that I think it was like the first couple of years that students were going to Buena High School, they were going with textbooks at the classroom and at home because they didn't have lockers for the students.
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
For the new school, when the new school was
Yeah.
opened up. Now you talk about BRAC. I was on the first BRAC. I was a team chief, and I had 3 other gentlemen with me, and I worked for Science Applications International, SAIC.
Okay.
Right here in town.
Right.
Okay, and we had the what they call the IMA project program through ISEC here on Fort Huachuca, and it was I think it was a 10-year deal. It was a big deal. Sherry,
Yeah, it's
my
your
niece
niece.
is
Yep.
here, definitely grown.
She's watching.
Beautiful. Hey.
Hi, Sherry.
Hi, Sherry. How are you, hon? But I had a team, and we had to go. Let me see, where we go. We had to move. We had to give. I went to Fort Chaffee, Arkansas. That is where. Let me see, what the heck was the name of the unit that was there? We're going back a long ways there, Michael.
Right,
You know, I got to
right.
tell you. But we had to move the unit. We had to give them all the communications they had. All right. We had to deinstall and reinstall at the new base they were going to. So, oh my God. And we had to do all the reports on how much equipment they had. We had to also estimate what it's going to cost to deinstall it, reinstall it, put the circuits up, pack it up, and ship it.
Right.
So it was pretty crazy.
I remember so many times when BRAC, which is base realignment
And closure.
and closure,
Closure,
thank
yes.
you. They would come up, and Fort Huachuca always seemed to be on the hit list at one time or another.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
yeah, it was crazy.
I think
It was
they're
cra-
still doing
and
them, aren't
that's
they?
that's one of the reasons I retired,
Uh-huh.
because they were saying Fort Huachuca was closing, and we were going to Fort Devens, Massachusetts. And
Okay.
I went, I'll be darned. I'm not going to Fort Devens, Massachusetts for you or anybody else. You got to go visit your guns when you go there, you know.
You want to go stay away from that snow and cold weather too,
well,
right?
Sure. Well, I grew up in that stuff. You know.
Yeah.
That was interesting too.
I like the weather here.
We used to listen to the radio every morning, you know. We go, oh, is the school closed? Hey, can we stay home today? That was what was fun. That was fun. So,
what I wanted to talk about next is the fascinating things that you do in our community,
okay.
and to assist our veterans in not only in Cochise County, but in the state of Arizona, if
Okay.
not outside of that. So if you could expand a little bit on some of the things that you've done
Okay.
for that.
Sure. I was, after I got out, I went, well, I got to do something. So I talked to the people at the Disabled American Veterans here in town. Their office at that time was the little building just before you go in the main gate. Here, the little stone
Yeah, on
building.
the right-hand side
On
there.
the
as you go
right-hand
in.
side
Yeah.
as you go in. And they said, well, do you want to be a service officer? I went, well, what's a service officer do? I'm in the same boat you are right now.
Right now,
Okay, and they told me what they did. And of course, with the disabled vets, you have to certify every year. You've got to take a test to be a
Chapter service officer.
officer. And as a matter of fact, I just finished one this morning. So, but that happened, and I was a service officer with the organization for probably about 9-10 years.
Right.
All right. I went through all the positions in the organization, junior vice, senior. I was senior vice for like 7-8 years. And at the present time, I'm what they call department executive committeeman. All right.
DEC.
DEC.
Which used to be SEC.
Called an SEC.
Right.
Yeah, yes. All right. But what we do as DECs is every unit has a DEC, and there's 16
Chapters?
16 chapters in the state of Arizona.
And our chapter's chapter 14.
We're chapter 14.
Wanted to get that little plug
yeah.
in there.
Well, push that little button there, Michael. Yeah, I know you got that taken care of. But it was funny because I did all that work, but the SECs and the DECs in each chapter, anything that comes up that another chapter needs as far as they want to build a unit, they want to fix this, or even the department being the state of Arizona,
Right.
DAV, they want to upgrade their building. All that's got to be sent to us as DECs through email, and we're able to vote on that. Okay, yes, no, or
Right.
or you don't vote at all, you abstain. So all 16 of us have to agree to do that, or it doesn't get done. We ask questions.
So it's a all or nothing deal.
Well, but we all ask questions.
Right.
We fire questions back and forth, and we normally get a paper that tells us exactly what they want and why they want it. All right, you know what I'm saying? Point paper or whatever we want to call it, point paper. But and then it's up to us to do that. Now I've been DEC or SEC since 2017. All right. I'm also an Elk with 2065, the Elks Lodge here in Sierra Vista. I've been with them, I believe, 12 years.
Right.
I started to go through the chairs. I was the esquire. I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Maybe our folks out there in our audience don't know what I'm talking about. But I was the esquire. I went to another position. You have to jump around, and then you get to be the ER,
The exalted
ruler.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
I had just started getting, I've been an elk for, I believe, 14 or 15 years. My dad had gotten me into it, but I was one of those people that would pay their dues, but was never really active. So I decided I'm going to start becoming active. And then the pandemic hit. And you know what? I mean, the pandemic alone just sucks, period. But then a microburst hits the roof.
Oh, at the Elks Lodge.
At the Elks Lodge.
And rips the roof off of it.
Yep.
So, and the lodge has not been open since.
But we're hoping to be opening here real soon, right? From what I've heard.
Say August, maybe September.
September, maybe.
I don't think there's. I mean, we have a beautiful social room. We had a beautiful social room. The bar was wrecked. We had asbestos in that room.
Right.
That had to be abated. But I think David Dean, who is our exalted ruler right now, has got that pretty much under control. But everybody's anxious to go back.
Yes, they are.
I mean, because it was a great place for us to sit down with people and talk to people and other elks and their families.
I think that was another big thing that I just hated about the pandemic was that people that like to socialize, all of a sudden, they're told, oh, you've got to stay home, you can't do this, do this.
It was miserable. It really was miserable.
So,
okay, we all got over it.
We're coming back.
We're coming back.
We're coming back.
That's right. And we're bouncing back. He's coming back. I'm bouncing back. But that's
yes,
all right.
you are.
I don't know whose show this is, Mike.
It might be yours.
It might be your show.
They say you can't keep a good man down, Bob. So what does that say about you, right?
Well, through the Elks, I had a couple different positions as far as I had firefighter and police officer dinner. I had to put that.
Okay.
Sue and I put that on, And we gathered prizes and we did 50-50 drawings. And actually, our pictures, and we have to have a book. We had to have a book when it was all over. All right.
Okay.
And so when I made up a book, and it went forward to the state, and from the state it went to the national level, and we came back. The grand exalted ruler at the national level gave us the best small firefighter and police officer ball for that year.
Wow.
And it was we did this for two or 3 years in a row.
I forgot they got this cool little nifty gadget here. How about that, huh?
That's good. And then I took over the veterans committee at the lodge.
Right.
Right. And I had that for like 2 years. We did quite a few things. We donating clothes at the VA or to the VA. I used to make a run up there probably about once a month with a box. My truck was right full of stuff, clothing that had been brought in from other elks. All right. And we did library books. We took books to the library for the veterans, and we took shaving creams and your basic cleaning,
right.
your supplies for washing up and brushing your teeth, stuff like that. Then we went to the Southern Arizona Veterans Home, which is still, it's on the premises
of the Tucson VA.
Of the Tucson VA up there. And we put on ice cream social, for those folks that live there. Then we did barbecues also there for them. Not at the same time.
Right.
We had pizza parties for them. I mean, it was really fun, to meet some of these gentlemen
and listen to their stories.
Yes.
And that's one thing I like about doing these interviews is because every there it goes again. Every single veteran has their own unique story, and I just love being able to be a part of being able to tell that.
Oh yeah, so. And it was all right, through the disabled veterans and the Elks Lodge, I was written up to go to the Arizona Veterans Hall of Fame,
which you are in now.
I am. My medallion says I'm number 419. And that's very few veterans belong to this organization, the Arizona Veterans Hall of Fame.
Now, I have a question for you about that.
Okay.
When we were at the convention and you were given that award, was it for the year of 2020, or was that a different award?
It was for the 2020, because we did not have
a convention.
We didn't have a convention in 2020, and I forgot what the award was. Isn't that awful? If Glenn was here, he could tell you. He could tell me what the award was for.
But I just think that you do so much for our community here. So we're talking DAV, we're talking Elks. Were there any other service organizations or other things that you were involved with?
Well, yeah, we did. We did a food exchange with St. Vincent's de Paul.
Okay.
Through the Elks. All right.
Okay.
Through the Elks, people would bring in canned goods. Baked goods. As long as the date none of these expired, we take them down to St. Vincent's de Paul, and they'd weigh everything we brought in, and we'd have to put it on a little ticket and remember that. So, and we did the same thing with clothing. I mean, we took a lot of stuff down there, but it was through Catholic communities.
Catholic community services.
Yes. So, but in order to be a member of the Arizona Veterans Hall of Fame, it's not only your service. All right, that it's what you've done after you've gotten out of the service for your community, for the people in your community. That's how it has to be written up. What have you done? What have you chaired? I chaired the Veterans Committee. I chaired the firefighter and the police committee. I did stuff for St. Vincent de Paul. I chaired food events, so on and so forth. So, and I got to tell you, it's quite a write up. They want to know a lot of different things that you've done. You're setting on what kind of committees you have sat on. I mean, it was amazing. It was just amazing. And I'm honored to be a part of that organization, actually.
Well, Bob, this is another reason why I wanted to get you in here and to interview you, is because of what you had just said there, that it's not only what you do in uniform, but after. And I'm really hoping that we have some veterans at home maybe watching this video that maybe heard that, and they're like, what can I do?
And there's a lot of veterans in this community
that
do quite a few different things outside after they've retired, for the community.
Well, we have a lot of service organizations in our area.
Yes, we do. Okay, but those service organizations need to take a look at their individuals that belong to their organization, what they're doing for that organization, all right, what they're doing outside that organization for the community.
Right.
And they need to do some write-ups and get these gentlemen, men or women, in the Arizona Veterans Hall of Fame. I mean, it's well, I'm 419. 2020, they didn't have anybody. This year, they're supposed to. So, I mean, we have, how many thousands of veterans do we have in the state of Arizona?
Right.
600,000, I believe, in the state. Can you imagine that?
I really hope I don't get in trouble for this, but Kathy, who is the CEO here at the Warrior Healing Center, Kathy Goodman.
Yes.
Beth, who works here. Dan. I mean, I can't remember all their names right now, but these people at the Warrior Healing Center,
they do so much for the veterans. This organization,
yes,
and other organizations,
and they're bringing all of them together too. Here,
I think we, as a service organization, the Disabled American Veterans, we are the only one. Maybe the VFW. I don't think they're here either, are they? I know VVA is here.
Right.
I know Purple Heart organization used to be here.
Correct.
The Marine Corps League is here. I don't know.
I did meet
other service organization.
I did meet Bill. I didn't get his last name, but he's with the Vietnam Veterans Association. Is that?
Oh yes,
that right?
Yeah. He's the commander.
Yep.
Or the president of the VBA organization.
So I got the privilege of meeting him today.
There's a meeting tomorrow morning, as a matter of fact. Coffee and donuts from 8 to 9. 9 to 10 is the meeting. And it's at the VFW in the big room.
Well, and another thing I wanted to touch on, because I was talking with him about it, all these service organizations, the DAV, the VFW, the VBA, there's so many, American Legion, there's so many more to mention, are all involved in somehow of putting this memorial together at the city park, or if I'm not using the right words.
Correct, you are.
It's not that they're rebuilding it, or what's the word I'm looking for?
There's one commemorative stone in the city park, and they call it Veterans Park.
Right.
All right? So there is a committee in Sierra Vista, and I happen to be on the one for the DAV.
For the DAV,
to come up with what we actually want to put out there for the veterans. And it's going to be amazing once you see it done. I don't want to spill the beans on anything, but this has been an ongoing committee for probably about a year and a half, 2 years.
But all of you that are involved watching this, if you can hear this, I personally want to say thank you for that. I think it's a great act, a great commitment to the city in order to make this
happen.
Yeah.
I was also instrumental in helping a Gold Star mother. We put a memorial to Gold Star families and relatives.
Isn't that up at the Sierra Vista Hospital? Hospital, the Sierra Vista Cemetery.
At Sierra Vista Veteran Cemetery.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, my picture is at the hospital.
Right.
Through the, I'm not sure, through the one of the organizations in town, people put you in for this stuff again. So they didn't take the photos down last year. They're going to this year, is what I'm understanding. All right. So my mugshot is at the hospital if you want to take a look at it. I'm a little heavier there, but that's okay. Yeah.
Well, Bob, I can't thank you for taking the time in and sitting down with me today to do this.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you for your service to our country, our nation. Thank you for your service to our community. Thank you for helping veterans. I mean, I could just sit here for like 30 minutes thanking you for everything that you do and have done. So.
And now I'm getting back into trying to be a service officer again.
Yes.
All right. Now you're junior vice at the DAV, so
right.
you can step up through. See.
I'm kind of content just being the junior vice right now. I haven't learned all of that.
Yeah. There's a ways. We have to do some mentoring in this organization. You know?
Right. We need to get some people in, and same thing at the Elks and the VFW and the American Legion. We need to get more people coming in.
Yeah, we've got to do that. But I got to tell you, it was my pleasure sitting here talking to you. And if anybody out there has got any more questions, I see a lot has come up here, and I think most of them are from my niece Sherry.
They are.
Who's back in upstate New York.
Yeah.
So, and this will go out after after we shut this down. It'll go out to a lot of folks. So, take a look at it. If you got any questions for myself, you can get a hold of me at I'm Disabled American Veterans Organization here.
Do you remember what the address is there? I know it's on El Camino, or actually Wilcox, right?
Well, it's actually the old hospital.
Right, the old hospital.
If anybody's been here as long as we have, they'll know where the old hospital is, and our office is there. Okay,
so come on down and say hi to Bob down there at the DAV sometime if you get a chance. Come in and bring your DD Form 214 and see what they can do to help you out down there.
And I just took my test. I hope I passed it.
You did.
Yeah, I hope so. Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. Sherry, Bob.
I salute everybody.
I
Thanks,
do too.
Michael.
I know you're not supposed to salute enlisted, but doggone it, it's a sign of respect for me.
Yeah, I got
that. So, all right. Thank you, everybody,
take care, everybody.
Signing in, everyone. Take care.